All right, let's get straight to it. This isn't some romance story. We're talking about a fundamental rule here. Today, we're digging into a very direct perspective on a line that, well, you just don't cross.
And this, right here, is the bedrock of the entire argument. It's this idea that there are unwritten rules, a code of honor that dictates how you're supposed to operate in the world.
Now let's be super clear about this from the jump. This has nothing to do with being scared of another man. Nope. The argument here is all internal. It's about you. It's about respecting yourself, about what your legacy is going to be, and just understanding that some moves have consequences that are way bigger than a simple fight.
Okay, so let's dive into the first big pillar of this whole thing. The focus here isn't on you, it's on the character of the other person involved. And it really forces you to take a hard look at what loyalty actually means.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? I mean, look at the two columns. On one side, you have this huge vow, made in public, in front of everyone, God, family, a serious, honorable bond. Then you look at the other side. What do you have? Something built in the dark. Something that's all about convenience, and you both know it's temporary. There's just no comparison.
And that leads to a really tough question, If she's so willing to break that first massive promise, what does that actually make your connection? Where do you really fit in her life?
And the answer is pretty blunt. You're not the exception to the rule. You're just the opportunity that was there. It's a harsh way to put it, but it's the core of this whole warning. This isn't some once-in-a-lifetime connection. It's just about who's available.
And this is what ties it all together. The argument is that loyalty isn't a switch you can just flip on and off depending on the situation. It's a deep part of who someone is. And if she doesn't have it in the most important relationship of her life, well, then she just doesn't have it. Period.
Okay, so we've talked about character. Now let's pivot to the consequences, because this is where it gets serious. And we're not just talking about getting caught. This is about inviting a kind of deep, negative energy into your entire life that you can't shake.
Now check this out. It's not just one problem. It's described as an invisible war you're fighting on all these different fronts. Spiritually, with your career, your money. And look at that last one. Your peace is just gone. That's one of the very first things to go.
And that really says it all, right? The thrill, the excitement you feel at the beginning, it's all a trap. It feels like you're taking a shortcut to something good, but you're actually on a one-way highway heading straight for destruction.
All right, pay attention here because this next part is absolutely critical. It reframes the whole act. This is not a conquest. This is not a win. Instead, it's a moment that just reveals something deeply flawed about yourself.
And here it is, laid out in black and white. You think you're winning? No. All you're doing is putting your own flaws on display for the world to see. Your weakness, your total lack of discipline, and yeah, an absolute absence of honor.
And this quote just hits hard. It draws a thick line in the sand between this kind of sloppy behavior and an ideal of masculinity that's built on integrity and self-control. It's sloppy. There's no honor in it.
So maybe you think you can get away with it, you can hide it, keep it quiet, but now we come to the one part of this that you absolutely cannot sidestep. The idea that there are universal laws at play, and you can't cheat them.
I love how this slide visualizes it as this simple, natural process. First, there's the act, the lying, the sneaking around. That's step 2. You're planting a seed. And what happens when you plant a seed? It grows, and you will get a harvest from it, a harvest of consequences in your own life.
And here's where it gets really chilling. That harvest, it might not pop up right away. It could show up years down the road, and it'll hit you where you're most vulnerable, in your own marriage, with your own family, maybe even affecting your kids.
I mean, it doesn't get any more direct than that, does it? There are no exceptions. No one gets a free pass. The bill always comes due.
So after looking at the character, the price you pay, and the guarantee of karma, we finally get to the verdict, the final word on all of this.
And it all circles right back to where we started. First and foremost, this is about self-respect. If you don't have that, it's the root of the whole problem.
And when you respect yourself, you automatically start to respect your own future. You start to understand that the choices you make today are literally building the life you'll have tomorrow.
And finally, it's about something bigger than just you. It's about respecting the brotherhood. That unspoken code we talked about, this action just shatters it completely.
Which brings it all down to this one simple, non-negotiable rule. There are no gray areas here. No excuses. If she's taken, you leave her alone. Period.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. You think no one knows what you're doing? You might be right, but karma doesn't mess. So you really have to ask yourself a serious question. What is your legacy worth? What do you want to be remembered for?